So Benjamin, thank you for being with me today on this excellent Zoom. We are here to talk about, if you couldn't tell by your background, the Tampa Bay Rays. I guess I have to say, and I'm a Yankees fan, so this hurts me a little bit, but the defending American League champion Tampa Bay Rays.
Right. In a very weird season, but
you know what? It still counts. I was on record at my last discussion with another American League East team fan that I think if it were 162, the Yankees would have eventually passed them, but we'll never know. And so, for the purposes of history, the Rays completely killed it all season long.
Yep.
So, I like to start by asking this. Tell me, how did you become a fan of the Rays?
The long version or the short version? No.
Whichever version you enjoy telling more.
So, I mean, when I was growing up, we lived in mostly Alaska and Iowa, and so there's no local team per se. And but I always liked baseball. I played Little League, that whole thing. I did like the Cubs for a little while, just from watching WGN like everybody else. But my mom was a Yankees fan, but I did not inherit that one. And so I was a baseball fan, never really had a team. And then during college, I had an internship in St. Petersburg, Florida, about, I don't know, a couple 5-6 blocks from the stadium. My coworkers had season tickets. Okay. I was in town just kind of by myself, didn't really have a lot to do. So I was like, every week they'd be like, oh, you want to come with us? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I just went to the games all week. All summer. And that was 2005. So they were pretty bad that year. But it was still fun. They had I think Rocco Baldelli and Casimir, and so there was a few good players. And or maybe Rocco was hurt that year. Who knows? But anyway, there was a few fun players, and so I had a lot of fun with it. And so I actually was going to. They offered me a job after the internship. They're like, "Hey, when we graduate, come back and work for us." I was like, "Sweet!" So, and that was my original plan. And then they went out of business during my senior year.
Oh no!
So that never happened. But I kept following the team. So and then 2008 happened. That was pretty exciting, obviously. And I eventually settled in Chicago area, so I could have switched to the White Sox at some point. But when you follow a team, you start following the prospects, you start following all the storylines, and then it becomes hard to let go. So I stuck with it all these years. But the good thing is if you're an out of town fan, MLB TV has all the games. You don't have to worry about cable deals and blackouts and all that nonsense.
It's fantastic.
So, yeah.
It's almost incentivizing being a fan of a team whose broadcast area you don't live in, which feels
right.
It's probably helpful for a team like the Rays in a smaller market. So I guess, yay.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Tell me, now this is a personal preference thing, because obviously the Rays are an American League team. Are you the kind of person who's like, oh, I'm a Rays fan, but I can adopt a National League team to also root for? Because then you could have the Cubs locally.
No, never the Cubs. Couldn't do that. If I was going to, I would go for the Brewers, probably. I like their stadium. They can be a fun team to root for.
I think you're right. For some reason, I feel myself very drawn to the Brewers. I have no reason for that. They have some great uniforms, A, and B, they always seem like they kind of like the Rays, actually. They seem like they kind of outperform what you expect.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's okay. So as a Yankees fan, I've watched the Rays a lot, especially in recent years when they've been really good. And I think the thing that is most annoying to them about them, to me, probably most fun to you, is exactly that. They have these rosters that are kind of hard to figure out how the pieces fit, but then they do, and they outperform the peripherals and they outperform the projections a lot and are really good most of the time. Is that how you feel about them too?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting that for actually most of the mid 2010s, they underperformed all their either base runs or whatever. But I feel like every year they have a team that could compete. I always feel like it's a high variance team. It's like you could look at it and be like, this team could be really good, or they could be really bad, depending on how these things break. And they always have a lot of younger players, so they could develop, they could regress. So every year I feel like, it could go. I feel like it's a team with a chance that could go either way, and sometimes it works, like 2020, and sometimes it doesn't, like 2016 or whichever year it was they lost the
Hard to remember. I know it's funny because it does. I think especially I feel like they pull pitchers out of a hat that you've never heard of, and they're monsters.
That's their talent for sure. Yeah.
It's a good talent to have because pitchers break. So it's good to have a never-ending, seemingly inexhaustible supply of guys you could just pull out of nowhere to be incredible. So that's cool.
And even with position players, they never really have stars, but they never really have like below replacement level players. They always have enough guys to cover the injuries with at least, kind of average players.
You know what? Frankly, I feel like a secret to winning the World Series is just exactly that, having enough guys to cover the injuries with the lowest level of drop off you can. Because my God, everyone gets hurt all the time. It makes me so sad.
Yeah, I know, right? It is the one of the tragedies of following baseball. Any sport, but
yeah, I guess honestly, probably less baseball than other sports, but also like because there's so many games. Any given game. Like we just found out that Aaron Judge is out with some kind of pain in his side that is not a real injury. I don't know.
I hadn't read that yet. So
that came out this afternoon. It's like, the tests are all clear. But then again, they also told us that when he had a fractured rib. So who knows?
Yeah.
Fingers crossed for Aaron Judge.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Even for other teams, you don't really want players to get hurt,
No, actually, that's okay. So this is a decent segue. Because I was looking at the Rays roster, and as I was looking at it, I saw you guys have a lot of guys down right now. That's I mean, I'm looking at, so we have, I didn't realize, so Nick Anderson, which is
kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, and that's a big blow.
Yeah, because he's so good in the bullpen. And then Kevin Kiermaier, which doesn't seem very severe, at least.
I didn't even know he was hurt.
He's like a 10-day quad strain situation. But I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He did come out of the game the other day. Yeah,
he should be okay. They said 10. But then the one that really kills me, I think, for me is Ji-Man Choi, who's probably my favorite Ray.
Yeah. He's a lot of fun to watch. Fan favorite for sure.
He played for the Yankees before he went to the Rays, and I love that guy. He looks like, okay, my thing about first baseman is you want a first baseman that you kind of like want to hang out with, because if you get on base, you're chilling with that guy for a while. And Ji-Man Choi, that's true. I would like not steal second just to chat with him.
Yeah.
Plus he's good.
It was a while back. Like I think it was like a really cold game in maybe Chicago, and somebody got to first base, and Choi was offering his sleeve for them to like wipe their nose on.
See, that's the stuff I just love that. I mean,
yeah,
that's like, this isn't Rays related, but last year, the first game of the crazy pandemic year, apparently Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs had Purell in his pocket, and the first person that got to first base, he like gave them hand sanitizer, which I just thought was really funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you want the goofy guy at first base. That's good times.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
But of the people who are not hurt, the Rays are a pretty formidable roster this year, as always. But they also traded away Blake Snell, and they let Charlie Morton leave in free agency. So tell me what your thoughts are on the current pitching situation.
I think it's going to be a step down for sure. Yeah. I mean, so, everyone likes to talk about how cheap they are, which is true. I mean, they always have a low payroll. That's undeniable. But I think part of it is everyone's like, oh, they always trade players as soon as they get to arbitration. And which is, again, true. But I don't think it's because they're cheap. I think it's because that's when players tend to have their peak trade value. That's kind of what they're trying to do, is find that peak and then flip them for the next wave of players, which can be a frustrating strategy as a fan when you see your favorites leave, but it does work. So it's hard to argue with that. But so I mean, the Blake Snell trade, I mean, I don't think they were planning to trade him. I think they got blown away by the offer and decided to do it. throwing sentimentality aside as they often do. But not bringing Morton back does feel cheap to me. I mean, like, I think they kind of said, well, we're going to take that $15 million and we're going to spend it on like, Archer and McHugh and Waka and who was the other one? I forgot. Oh, and Rich Hill.
Oh yeah.
So, and I think they thought, we're going to need a lot of innings this year, and so we can get 4 guys for the price of 1. But of course, the quality of the guys is obviously less. I think they're hoping that, I don't know, Charlie Morton is old. There's a chance that he will have a bad season or get hurt, and it's a bigger risk for the Rays. Just bet $15 million on that. But still, it's $15 million, and they're all billionaires. And come on,
not our money. Spend it.
They could have kept Charlie Morton. I think that kind of was a cheap move.
And it's interesting because there is a difference between doing things for cost reasons and doing things for talent acquisition reasons. Because yeah, you're right. If you're the Rays, you're never going to run the highest payroll in the sport, so you're probably not in the market for Garrett Cole. But therefore, trading Blake Snell when you can get Luis Patino back,
plus 3 other guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's always a chance Blake Snell blows out his elbow or whatever, and so you want to, they want to trade him before that happens for 4 guys, and keep the line moving. So and yeah, it is a little tough to see players that you really like get traded, but I do understand the strategy.
That makes sense.
So that one, I mean, I can understand, but yeah, Morton just feels cheap to me, not bringing him back.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. He's with the Braves, so it'd be interesting to see how he does there, because they also kind of needed pitching in a pretty bad way. So
yeah,
they need him to be good. So I guess we'll find out whether or not it was a good gamble by the Rays to let him walk. But you never know.
But it was funny that they declined his $15 million option and he signed for $15 million with the Braves. So he was clearly worth $15 million, but they just didn't want to pay it. So
but what they ended up with, though, is looking at my notes because I don't have this memorized yet. So Tyler Glasnow obviously is the headliner in this rotation, and I don't know. So I think he's awesome. Like, I realize that probably the track record hasn't been there the same way it was for Snell. But if you asked me last year who I least wanted to face, I think I probably would say Tyler Glasnow.
Yeah, and apparently this year he's got a third pitch. He's been throwing a slider in training and in the first 2 games. He actually threw it really heavily in the first game, and so that could really be make a big difference. But yeah, I mean, he's had trouble, getting deep into games, a little bit of trouble with control or whatever. But and yeah, I think a third pitch might help a lot because with only 2 pitches, it can be, even though they're 2 excellent pitches, can sometimes be hard to get that swing and miss when you really need it. So we'll see, but I think it could be make a big difference for him.
Absolutely. Because I mean that he's got that crazy fastball, which nobody wants to see. But I was noticing this actually with, of all people, Aroldis Chapman, the Yankees closer, who for most of his career was a 1-pitch pitcher, and it was the fastball. Right. But he had a slider that used to be a show me pitch that kind of became a decent slider. And then late last year, he added a splitter. And he has only had 1 outing this year, but he used all 3 pitches, and people were taking the dumbest swings against him, because if you're geared up for a 102-mile-an-hour fastball and you get a split finger, you look crazy swinging at it. So as pertains to Glasnow, and especially because he's trying to get through guys more than once, whereas Chapman is not. Right. So I think that's it's great, because if you want to try and make sure you catch up to that really high heat, you might take some really rough hacks against something that just dives out of the strike zone, or a slider that wipes you out. I think that's a great call.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think if he stays healthy, he can have a real big year.
I'm excited for that. I did. Have you ever played Out of the Park baseball, the awesome simulator game?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't played.
I hadn't either, but then during the first couple months of the pandemic, when I was literally locked in my apartment with nothing to do, I started doing it, and I was playing out the Yankees 2020 season just a couple times to see what happened, but myself as the manager, but not the GM. So my robo AI Brian Cashman was making all kinds of moves. And there was one version where, I don't know why this happened, but AI GM Brian Cashman decided he should trade Gary Sanchez to the Rays for Tyler Glasnow.
Okay.
And it was weird because they were both in this version of reality having a great year.
Mhm.
And I guess that those fake Yankees needed pitching and those fake Rays needed hitting, which kind of tracks with those teams in general. But
Yeah,
I
the Rays have never had
Glasnow,
a good catcher, so
right? But exactly. But Glasnow like won the Cy Young in my fantasy universe, so
oh wow.
it can happen.
All right. All right.
And then okay, so following him, let's see. I have here we've got Ryan Yarbrough, Chris Archer, Rich Hill, Michael Waka. Yeah, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean Yarbrough he's good. He's a soft tossing lefty,
Yep.
but he's been making it work for a while. I have confidence in him. Um, he's been pitching reasonably well to start the year. Today's game got a little out of hand late.
Yeah,
It was
Yankees.
partly defensive,
Hello, Red Sox.
partly defensive miscues behind him, so it wasn't all his fault. um, but and then yeah, after that it's gonna be an experiment.
I'm curious because Chris Archer surprised me because, of course, he was with the Rays when his star rose, and then, I mean, is there anything worse for a pitcher than being traded to the Pirates? Thinking not.
No, no. Which and it is really it's funny because it was only I don't know 5 years ago. Everyone was like, "Oh, the Pirates are pitching geniuses," and you know, they got a lot of guys, coming in and doing well and getting a lot of ground balls, and then it all fell apart. now, now you don't want to go there.
It's funny because it felt like, yeah, they were the ground ball revolution
Yeah,
guys, but then everyone realized that strikeouts are better than ground balls. And they were like, no, get ground balls. And you've seen it in a couple guys who leave and just find a different level. Garrett Cole being the prime example of this, where like, yeah, if you have to pitch to contact, that can be effective. But if you don't have to pitch to contact, don't.
yeah, right.
I'm interested because Chris Archer, I remember watching him with the Rays and thinking he was so dynamic and exciting. And then he's been ineffective and injured both. And now he's back with the Rays. So I guess they're hoping they can re-unlock what they originally found in him, that talent. So yeah. Has he made a start yet? I haven't seen.
He has.
How'd it go?
They piggybacked him and Rich Hill
Oh,
the Marlins in the third game, and well, I think Rich Hill started and Archer relieved, and neither one of them pitched great against the Marlins.
against the Marlins.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, the Marlins were in the playoffs last year, so we can't totally.
They're not terrible.
They're not terrible.
But they're not great.
No.
So yeah, I don't know. It's one start, so we'll see.
I'm interested. So yeah, I think it's going to be all about like the guys they have that are either trying to kind of bounce back from whether it's from injury or poor performance. And I mean, to be honest with you, if I trust any team to figure that out, it's probably the Rays with pitchers. So they have as good chance of anybody as getting a good year out of those guys.
True. But I still say Charlie Morton would have lengthened the rotation and just given a little margin for error with all those guys.
Yes, that's interesting. Before we leave pitchers, I'm curious. I know Blake Snell is no longer a Ray. I know this has been beaten to death in the sports news media, but talking about last year's playoffs, I was watching that game, that fateful game in which Blake Snell was dealing, and then pulled. And I think my reaction at the time was, this is probably a mistake, but my thought was not because they shouldn't pull Snell. It was because they're putting in Nick Anderson, who, having seen him a lot over the course of the year, he was incredible. But having seen him in the series before and that series, I was like, he's tired. He doesn't have his location that he needs. I don't know. But tell me what you know the team a lot better than I do. So what were your thoughts when that happened?
I mean, yeah, I was like, I don't know about this. Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Nick Anderson has been phenomenal for like 2 years, and I totally understand the confidence in him. I do totally understand. I think the Rays really preach not getting caught up in small samples, or the last couple of games, or not going with the hot hand and all that type of stuff. And so I think that's what Kevin Cash was thinking, is like, hey, this is my best reliever. whether or not his last 2 games were good, he's my best reliever, and I'm gonna, in a 1-run game, try to hang on to this lead. But you're absolutely right. He did look like he'd been not quite his old self. Snell did look like he was having a great night. So as a fan, it's just, yeah, you're just, yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, I reacted the same as everyone else.
And so hard in the World Series because, like, I mean, they played amazing baseball to get there, and it was not easy for them to even get to the World Series. They went the full 5 games against the Yankees, and that last one could have gone really either way. That was a really intense game. And then it went 7 against the Astros, who were terrible all year. And then all of a sudden, the playoffs, they remembered they were the Astros, and I think the only time in recent memory I've rooted for the Rays was against the goddamn Astros.
Yeah, right.
Like, beat them. And they did. It took them 7 games. It was not an easy series, but they did it. But then to come in and have to face the powerhouse Dodgers, who were just the best team in baseball the past couple years, not just last year. I mean, it was going to be a tough go no matter what. But like climbing the mountain to get all the way to the World Series, and then to have that happen, that's just so hard. Because you can't fault anybody, but like, oh.
Yeah, and I mean, the other argument I've heard is like it was pretty unlikely they were going to win that game with a 1 run, like 1-0, right? Like their offense really needed to score at some point during that whole game, more than 1 run. Like, I mean, they were riding that lead for a while, but I mean, whether you leave in Snell or whether you leave in, you bring in Nick Anderson, odds are the Dodgers are going to score a run at some point in those last 3 innings, and the offense couldn't get it done. So
well, I was all of it just, I mean, congratulations on winning the American League, though. That is a huge thing, and a great, I think everyone considers that a great year for the Rays. But of course, whenever you lose, it feels unfulfilling because you lost. But 29 teams lost, and you guys were the last ones to lose. So
it was a fun playoff run for sure.
And so, speaking of the offense that need to score more runs, this year that didn't change as drastically, it seems to me. They got a lot of the same guys back. They speaking of catchers, they re-signed Zunino, who was fine for them. And now they have Mejia.
He's a great defender. Can't hit it up. Can't hit a lick. He had a few big home runs in the playoffs, surprisingly.
He did.
He did. But he generally can't hit. So
many catchers.
That's what you're gonna get. So.
And then they have the kid Francisco Mejia now, who from the Padres, right?
Yep.
I haven't seen him play at all. I mean, small sample size, not how's he doing, but like, what are you excited about? How's he seem?
So yeah, I mean, this course it's going to be mostly Zunino, but he's played, he started today, and I think he started one of the games against the Marlins. And he's known as a bat first catcher. So it's only been a couple games. He had like a double today or whatever. I'm sure he's going to hit a little. The defense was always the question, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know.
And then, I mean, to me, just off the top of my head, thinking about last year, I mean, well, first of all, stopping that, the story is Randy Rosarena. That is like the story of the Rays. Can he keep doing what he was doing? And I mean, it's funny. I listened to a couple of baseball podcasts. I read some baseball stuff. And I think it seems like prevailing opinion was like, well, this is a really crazy hot streak this guy's on. What good timing for the Rays. And then as it kept going, people were like, maybe he's actually really good. Like, he's probably not Barry Bonds, but he's definitely above average, kind of got out of nowhere. And like, talk to me about that. Like, I watched him and I kind of in awe, especially in the playoffs last year, just homer after homer in big situations. But
I mean, it's clearly an athletic guy, but that performance was pretty unexpected and pretty magical. And I mean, it's like it was so good for so long that it's got to affect your projections a little bit. So I mean, even before that, you're definitely hoping that he would pan out of that Cardinals trade. They clearly liked him when they traded for him, and then they gave him a shot, and so, but you were hoping for a decent player, but but nobody was hoping for that
That's
for that playoff run.
you can't hope for that. That's unfair to hope for that, but
Right.
he's done it.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think he's still a little bit of an unknown, but he's clearly got some talent, obviously. So hope he can keep it going. He certainly hasn't been hitting a home run every game so far this year, but
well then forget him. He's over. Over every game. That's what I need.
Right? What was that so much to ask?
How hard is it? How hard is it? Not that hard. It's really hard. Yeah. I mean, yes, I agree. And I think so. To me, that's the guy who I look at in the lineup and I'm like, oh, scared of him. It's a little bit of recency bias because he killed us in the playoffs, but also that's a guy that you're scared of at the plate because he can do a lot of things. I mean, I think who am I looking at? Oh, Willie Adames is looking for a big year, possibly. I don't know how sold I am on him, but
yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of how it's been his whole career so far. Solid defense, keep hoping for more offense. Through coming up through the minors, they were saying he was a good hitter, pretty much the whole way, or at least especially for shortstop. Yeah. Hasn't quite translated. He's had his moments, but he's never been a consistent hitter. So, and maybe he never will. I don't know. It's been a few years now. But I still keep feeling like there could be that big breakout year. But at this point, I wouldn't bet on it too heavily.
Ooh, okay, so the non-Randy Arozarena edition, who are you looking at to play a big role in the offense?
I think, I would say Meadows. I think he had a real tough time last year with COVID, and because he had COVID early on, and
yeah,
I think just
that's so hard
for the whole season. And so I think he's got a chance to rebound. And I mean, I keep hoping Yandy Diaz will just go crazy for a while.
Yeah, he seems like he could. Also, like his arms are the size of my neck.
Yeah, and and so for the story forever was he had too many ground balls to tap into his power. And then a couple of years back, he hit for power pretty well. And keeps getting dinged up with injuries. But I don't know. We'll see. But if I was gonna bet on someone to have like a breakout offensive year, I would pick him and Meadows.
Okay.
I don't know if they will, but I would say they're the most likely.
Yeah. All we can do is guess. I mean, who would guess that guy on the White Sox, Mercedes, who like never had a hit before, would have 8 hits to start his career? No one would have guessed that. Right. You can't predict baseball, as they say.
Yeah.
But we can pretend to, and I think Yandy Diaz and Meadows make sense to me. I feel like Brandon Lau had some decent moments, and I'm curious whether he can parlay that into a whole season as well. Because
I mean, I guess he's probably been their best hitter over the last couple of years, and just had a tough run in the playoffs.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think I don't know. I think he's a great hitter. Well, no, not a great. I think he's a good hitter, and I don't think he's got a lot more. I think he's going to be a solid 2 to 3 win player for a while, hopefully.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
He's at.
I don't know what I'm basing this off of exactly, but he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to go crazy and just.
Yeah, he doesn't have Randy Arozarena playoff vibes. He doesn't have that.
Yeah,
I get it. Not everyone does.
Right.
Yeah,
I could be obviously wrong on that too, but I don't know.
I do think it'll help him that they've traded Nate Lowe, so now people won't mispronounce his name.
Well, they still have Nate Lowe's little brother in minors, Josh Lowe.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's great. So they had 2 Lows in a Lau.
Yes, exactly.
A lot. Okay, well, that guy hasn't made his major league debut yet, so no. Brandon's safe for now.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so what else did I write down here? All right, so I guess talking about the pitching and the hitting, what do you think? And I guess the range is broad, as we discussed. They're kind of they have the error bar is wide, as they say on this team. What do you think are the best and worst case scenarios for this year's Rays, and what would it take for the best and worst to come about?
Yeah, I mean, I think the projection systems have them pegged like kind of like mid 80s, low 80s, which is kind of like a surprise because like they just came off the World Series run. But
I division and going to the World Series, yeah, it's kind of low.
Yeah, but I kind of understand it. Like I feel like that sort of is the midpoint, and then it's a wide variance. So, yeah. I mean, like if well, it's I guess that exciting. Like if everybody does well, they'll be good. I mean, you could certainly see like Glasnow really taking off and being a true ace. You could see, if like Rich Hill and Chris Archer and Michael Wacha, if they stay healthy and average and carry the team, gives them some innings, that could work out fine. If everybody hits enough, which has kind of always been the Rays model.
Yeah.
They have a great offense, but they just hit enough. You could see how it could work. The bullpen is going to obviously have to cover the loss of Nick Anderson, and some guys are going to have to step up, but they still have some pieces, and who knows, Wander Franco could come up and go crazy. And
I am, to be honest with you, I'm like kind of excited for that to happen. I would love for it to happen for my personal benefit at a point when the Rays are like out of the race and not worried about them anymore. But Wander Franco this is so exciting. That's like my number one thing that I hope happens for the Rays this year is they call up Wander Franco and he's awesome.
Right. But that's no guarantee, right? I mean, Vlad Jr. was the highest rated prospect for a while, and he's taken some time to hit his stride, which is,
I gotta tell you though, this year already, that guy looks terrifying. I mean, Yankees opened against the Blue Jays, so I got a very good look at the Jays. I was saying my last preview, one of these chats with a Blue Jays fan who is understandably very excited about their team, which I would be too. They're really exciting. They're fun. If they weren't in my division, the kind of team I'd probably be like, "Ooh, I root for them. They're great." But as is, no, I wanted down with the Blue Jays. But they, what was interesting to me is I was fully expecting the Yankees and the Blue Jays to have all these games where everyone scored 25 runs and it was just an offensive barrage. And the series we just had, the final scores were 3-2, 5-3, and 3-1. It's like, you can't. And then whereas the Rays in their opening series against the Marlins and against the Red Sox, like I consider the Rays a run prevention team more than a high scoring team. And those have all been like high scoring games.
Yeah. It's been an uneven start to the season, but
yeah. So for anybody, we're recording this on what's today? It's Wednesday, and the Rays have played 6 games, and they are 2-4. Swept by the Red Sox, which is funny only in that the Red Sox previously got swept by the Orioles, which makes me wonder if the Orioles are the best team in baseball.
Could be.
I would be almost mad, but actually probably really tickled if of all these great teams are talking about the Orioles win the American League East.
John Means for Cy Young.
Honestly, weirder things have happened. So the Yankees are facing the Orioles in their 3rd game of the 3-game set tonight, and we face John Means. So against Jameson Taillon, who hasn't pitched in a year and a half. So
well, hopefully he's below the mean tonight.
I'm gonna steal that one. That's really good. Thank you.
I didn't make that.
No, but you came up with it real fast. So that was off the dome. Okay, so I was gonna. Okay, so here's one. I think we talked about Wander Franco. It could be your answer. I don't know. But who is a player that I might not know that well that you are really excited to watch this season on the Rays?
Ooh, that's a good question.
You.
I mean, there's certainly no like big acquisitions to be excited about. So I mean, but there's a lot of people on the farm. Obviously starting with Wander Franco, and they got like Bruhan and Walls and a bunch of other guys. Well, okay, here I'll go with the very dark horse. How about that?
I love it.
Brent Honeywell.
Okay, yeah, pitcher, right?
Yeah, because he was like poised to poised to make big leagues about 3 years ago. He was a really highly ranked prospect, throwing the screwball. That was his claim to fame.
So fun.
Yeah, but it wasn't just a screwball pitch. He had a good fastball, and I think he had 4 pitches. And it just looked like he was ready to set the world on fire. Tore his UCL. During the rehab for that, he broke his elbow bone or whatever.
Wow.
Had to have a surgery to reattach that.
Yikes.
And then I think he's had at least one more arthroscopy surgery to just clean up scar tissue and stuff in his elbow. So it has just been a disaster.
Poor kid.
Right? And so he is throwing again this year. There's a chance that he could make it back to the big leagues. And if he does, I'll be excited for him. And maybe see the screwball if he's still throwing it. I don't know.
Okay, you've succeeded, because now I'm really excited for Brent Honeywell, because I did not know he threw a screwball, and I don't know does anyone in the majors right now actually throw a screwball? I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, not really.
Okay.
No.
So I'm officially excited about that. I hope that happens. Thank you. That's a great answer. 10 points.
All right.
I don't know what the points mean, but they're good.
All right. We'll put them on the board.
Lord. Great. So I have a couple of slightly less directly baseball related questions, but before I do,
Okay.
do you have any other things you want to make sure you say about the Rays this season, the team, how you feel about them? Do you want to, do you want to make a prediction about how the division's going to shake out?
All right. Yeah, there's nothing that'll make you look sillier than trying to predict baseball, but why not, right?
True. That's why I do it every day.
Okay, you have to put the Orioles last. That's pretty likely.
Yeah.
I know people are saying the Red Sox aren't as bad as they were last year, and that they right, that they should compete. And I don't know, obviously they played well against the Rays the last 3 days. But I don't know. I'm not a Red Sox believer. I'm not buying the Red Sox as contenders this year.
I'm with you.
So I'm going to put them in 4th.
Yep.
And then I feel like a lot could happen at the top. It
Yeah.
could go a lot of different ways. I'm sure the safe bet would probably be, I think the projections went Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays, pretty sure. That would probably, so obviously be the safest bet. But I have to, be a little bit of a homer.
Yes.
So we'll go Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays.
Okay. All right. I can 100% see that happening, because my official prediction is Yankees, Blue Jays, Rays. But I think a lot of things, I'm a Yankees fan, so I've watched firsthand while everybody gets hurt. So there is definitely a version of things where the Yankees all get hurt and they can't get through that for the 3rd straight year. So that could be a problem for them. But the Blue Jays and the Rays, it's really interesting, because I think the Rays generally, like I said, are built around pitching. So they're taking gambles with some of their starting rotation guys. And the Blue Jays are based a lot around hitting, and they don't have a lot of pitching. So I think it's going to be a really interesting battle. Those are 2 teams that you could tell me anything would happen with them, and I would believe a whole range of outcomes. So
Yeah.
I think it'd be a fun division.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
I feel like as a Yankees fan, I grew up knowing that I had to hate the Red Sox. That's just, it's gospel. One doesn't have a choice.
Mhm.
But I also feel like the past couple of years, the real rivalry in the division has been Yankees Rays. And it's a little because the Red Sox have been pretty bad for the past 2 years. But they won the World Series in 2018. And then what happened? They just went, it's like every time the Red Sox win the World Series, they have to show how impressive that was by being so bad the next year. You're like, how did they do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Weird.
Very
weird series of seasons for them.
So weird.
But they got 2 championships in the decade. So.
They sure did. And they've had, we've had none. So I guess I can't rag on the Red Sox too much, except to say that I do think they're going to be not so good this year, because their pitching really is suspect. And they have some really good young hitters. They have a couple of really good. I think Devers is legit. JD Martinez, who had a terrible year last year, I think is going to be good this year. Xander Bogaerts is the real deal. And I think Verdugo is going to produce for them. The kid they have, Dahlbeck at first base. They've got some guys who could be good, but I don't think their pitching is going to keep them in a lot of games. And they made basically no effort to address that. So I agree with you. I'm not really a believer that they're going to contend too much. I think they could be pain in the ass for teams that have to play them down the stretch. But I'm pretty much with you there. But any event, I think the Yankees Rays thing has been a real rivalry, and I think for the players too. Like these teams don't like each other very much. It's
I think. Well, it sure seemed like CC Sabathia had it in for the Rays for some reason. Of course, as a Rays fan, I was didn't appreciate it.
So I
But
fucking love CC Sabathia. He's amazing, but he has a podcast that I listen to. He and a co-host Ryan Rucco, and they talk about this because CC, as he says, basically saw the Rays coming. He was like, these guys are going to be good, and the kids coming up for the Yankees when they started to kind of retool real fast in 2016 and contend again. He was like, they have to be prepared to go and get the Rays because the Rays are going to be really good. So I think he was trying to instill a sense of rivalry there just to make sure everyone took them seriously. Because I think with heavy hitters, you got the Red Sox and the Blue Jays are going to spend money. The Yankees are always going to spend money. So the Rays are just kind of like hanging out, the quiet assassins. They're like, you're not looking at us, but we'll get you. And they do. So I think CC saw what was happening and was like, we have to get everyone like focused on those series.
That's fair. I don't know. He was throwing at people a lot, so obviously.
Well, and it's funny because I think he and I watched it as a Yankees fan. I felt like the Rays also threw at our guys a lot. Who started it? Who knows? Everybody's the same. Don't throw at people. Stupid.
Right? Stop it. Just play baseball.
Oh, the adrenaline of like men trying to win is so funny when it becomes like really angry charging together, just kind of like mill around because we can't really fight. It's like the goofiest. There was, I don't know if you saw the Reds and the Cardinals had a whole kerfuffle and benches cleared and Nick Castellanos and Yadi Molina were like screaming at each other. And then it's always funny because everyone just kind of like, hey, we're just gonna mill around and look like we're being tough.
Yeah, baseball fights are
the weirdest.
Pretty goofy.
So stupid. So I'm looking forward to that happening with the Yankees and Rays this year. They're gonna clear the benches and glare at each other and maybe have a thumb war.
Right, yeah, there you go.
Not with Aaron Judge, please. He'll break his thumb. Don't do it.
But he probably has the longest thumbs. He probably has an advantage.
He does. You know that he would then miss a month with a strained thumb.
You do need a thumb to hold a bat. So
you do two. I think you need two thumbs.
Yeah.
Because that story way back in the day about a one-armed pitcher, which is
Jim Abbott.
Yeah, but it can't be being one-armed batter feels like not going to work.
Yeah. I did like a speech on him when I was in like elementary school or something, and then my uncle, who was in New Jersey, whatever, during his time with the Yankees, he somehow got a signed ball by Jim Abbott and gave it to me.
Cool.
I have that at home. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
I
have his baseball card sitting next to it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's like an amazing story when you.
It's how do you keep your balance? Watching pitchers, I'm like I can't figure out how they don't fall down all the time anyway. Having an arm, like I props to him.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little bit of a turn here. So I have to confess to you that I have never been to the Tropicana Field. Right. It's on, I want to go to all the parks, so it's somewhere on my list. I'm not gonna lie, it's not super high on my list, but it's on my list. It's a stadium that exists that we want to go to. But I mean, you obviously have been. You had that whole wonderful summer, which began your great love of the Rays. So tell me your thoughts on your stadium.
Yeah, and that was most of it. I think I've been back for a visit once since then. We went to a game, but yeah, no, it's been a while. I see them every time they come to Chicago. That's my fandom. Yeah. But so I mean, I'm basing it off of very old impressions. But and to be fair, like at that point in my life, I hadn't been to a lot of major league stadiums. I'd actually been to Yankee Stadium as a kid several times, visiting family. So yeah, and that was obviously lots of fun as a kid. But yeah, I didn't even know if I'd been to many others. So but so to me at least, I liked it. Like I thought it was fine. I mean, it is a different feel, obviously, than being like an outdoor ballpark.
Yeah.
But also, like, it's Florida. Like, it's like really hot and humid, and like, I was actually like shocked. Like, it rains like every afternoon, almost without fail. Like around like 2 o'clock, it
That's
just rains for
terrible.
like a little while. Like, I think all the humidity just evaporates like during the day, and then it just rains, and then it's done. I don't know. It was weird. Like, like my coworkers would all be like, "Oh, we have umbrellas," and I'm like, "Okay," but because like every day if you were going out for lunch in the afternoon or something, you needed it. Yeah, so like that's not great for baseball. Like,
No.
yeah, so I totally understand why they built a dome.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously they never had like huge crowds very often, but I think it was, when they did, people said it was very loud.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Echoes.
Yeah. But at least for me, of course, like I was able to get tickets cheaply and easily anytime. And so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I still enjoyed it.
It's a good point, because we think about, the classic stadiums like the Ivy Walls at Wrigley and the disgusting whatever at Fenway, but these places that have so
I mean,
much.
Wrigley's a little disgusting too.
Yeah, I've only been to Wrigley once, but I will say the Ivy was really pretty. So that is not overhyped. It's lovely. But I think you think about the experience of being in the ballpark, but there is something to be said for access and being able to get tickets when you want them for not a gajillion dollars, which you cannot do at Wrigley. That's a good thing to have a fan base. I kind of wish more people went to see the Rays, because they're, as you said, they pretty much always contend. So it is kind of a baffling that they don't have enough people that want to come see their very good baseball team.
Well, it's a problem of geography and demographics, I think. I think the Bay is really tough because they have half their population on each side of the Bay, and it's a pretty long bay with like 3 or 4 bridges that are traffic bottlenecks.
Okay, that sounds bad.
Yeah, so that makes it hard. Like I've seen some studies where they were like drawing circles around all the ballparks, and they're like, what is the population, within a whatever mile radius of the stadium? And the Rays were the lowest because half of it's water. And even if you move across the bay, you still have the same problem.
Right.
So it's better if it would be on the Tampa side than the St. Pete side. There's a little more population over there, but there's still, you're gonna have a lot of water next to your stadium. And then just the demographics of Florida, that you get a lot of people retiring to the area. A lot of them kept their old allegiances, which is why the Red Sox and the Yankees games always do well, because there's a lot of people who grew up as fans and then they retire to Florida, and so they keep their fandom. And and then they're just a newer team, so they don't have like the generations of fans.
That's true.
Like the older teams do. So I think it all kind of conspires against them.
I have 2 follow-up questions, but one of them is, it just occurred to me talking about the water, should they have a giant ray ferry, like shaped like a ray, perhaps, that can just ferry people across the bay to avoid the traffic on the bridges?
There you go. That's a good idea. I've also heard the floating stadium idea. Stadium in the bay, and then you just float it across like back and forth depending on different days or whatever.
That's a great idea. Oh my god! Except the water gets choppy and you have like seasick players.
Yeah, you get a hurricane coming through.
Oh my god, I'm totally into this. That's amazing. The only time to be a weather delay in an indoor stadium is because the water's too choppy underneath the stadium. This is great. Oh my god. Okay, you've come up with a genius idea. We should all write a letter to the Rays right now. Floating stadium. But they also, my second follow-up question is, the idea they actually were proposing was half the year in Montreal.
Yeah. I'm still convinced it's just a negotiating ploy. Yeah. They're going through all the motions claiming they're like, oh, Bud Selig is considering it and blah, blah, blah. But I'm pretty sure it's just a tactic to try and basically convince the local government to give them millions of dollars. Like all the owners do. Like, I mean, that's how Tropicana Field got built, was they wanted to threaten the Giants and the White Sox with relocation so that they would build new stadiums. So it's the game they play with billionaire owners versus the local governments, and I'm pretty sure that's all it is.
You're probably right.
If it actually happens, I'll be very surprised.
Yeah, it seems impractical at best.
Yes.
And it feels like for the players, frankly, shitty.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it'd be nice not to have to be in Florida in the middle of the summer when it's really hot in Florida and it's probably lovely in Montreal. And it's probably nice not to be in Montreal when it's April and snowing. But
Right.
if you have a family, I mean, what are you doing? Two countries, kids.
Right. Yeah, that makes it even worse.
Yeah, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
That being said, of course, Montreal. Also, putting two cities in the same franchise, both of which had a fan problem, just does that solve the fan problem? I mean, no one from Montreal is going to Tampa to see a game.
No, I mean, well, I think they were hoping. The theory is that scarcity would drive up interest. So if you only have
Half the home
81
games.
games to go see instead of, or 40 games to go see instead of 80, then you'd have to pick your spots, and then you double attendance through scarcity, right?
Yeah.
Same number of people go to games.
I guess the question is like, how many people are the people that are at like all the home games because they're rabid fans versus how many are one-time or two-time people who.
True. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, your season ticket people, obviously, who did go to 80 games are now only going to 40.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the bigger thing, if they actually did it, would be that they could sell media rights in two different markets, because that's really
that's all
more these days. That's more lucrative than ticket sales to
these
teams, as the media rights. So if they really could sell media rights into metro areas, that would be quite a coup, because of course people would watch all the games in both those metro areas. But I don't think they're going to pull it off.
Yeah, probably not. But if they did, would they be the Tampa Bay Rays of Montreal? Would they translate Tampa Bay Rays into French? I'm not sure how you say Rays in French.
I don't either. Well, the best suggestions I heard was the geese, because they fly north for
They migrate.
Yeah, they migrate. Yeah, so they'd have to change to the geese.
But just the geese with no city name, just geese. The geese.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've probably heard this joke, but the worst possible combination is Tam Montreal.
Yeah, that's bad. That's very bad. I will say the Yankees have a minor league affiliate in Tampa, because that's where they have their spring training facility right across the bay from the Rays' normal home. And it used to be the Tampa Yankees, but when Major League Baseball was like, no, you can't use your major league team's name on your affiliates anymore, they changed to the Tampa Tarpons. Because a tarpon is apparently some kind of large fish, which I was not aware existed until I saw the name. But the logo being a bright, flashy logo with big block letters, definitely if you glance at it quickly and don't know that tarpon is a word, you might just think that it was tampons. Which, I mean, hey, that'd be cool. Let's normalize talking about like this. But like a weird name for a baseball team.
Yeah.
All right, so we think probably that's not happening anytime soon. But so it's been a while since you've been to the Trop, but do you have any memory when you were there of there being any special like food or drink things that were like, you have to go get the XYZ at the Trop, that's our specialty, or not?
But they had like like one of those deals, where if they strike out 10 people, everyone gets a free whatever. And it's changed over the years. But at one point in time, it was Tijuana Flats, which is like a taco place.
Ooh.
I think somewhat local taco place. Like it was a chain but I think it was a chain in the area. That was pretty good. I can't remember if they had. I think they had locations at the ballpark, but it's been a long time.
That's okay. That's good. I would love that. I would always go on the day my ace was pitching, and the Rays always have good pitching. So you got to go, be there for the 10 strikeouts, and then load up on tacos.
Yeah, I think the only catch was you had to go to the furniture store though to like exchange your ticket for the voucher for the tacos or something. So I never did it, but like because it was all a ploy to get you into the furniture store, King's Furniture or whatever. They've been sponsoring it since forever. But
but question, do they in fact serve beverages made with Tropicana orange juice or other Tropicana products in the stadium?
I don't, not that I recall. That doesn't seem like a great idea.
Didn't they?
Maybe they do now. I don't know. I don't know.
Feels like a missed
Um,
opportunity.
yeah, right. And then like not in the ballpark, but the everyone, like all the local fans go on and on about how great the breweries in the area are.
Oh
Because they
yeah.
come very close to the field. So the last time we were in town and we did go, we went to one, I think it was called like the Green Door or something like that. It was one of the local microbrews, in the
Cool.
area. So that was fun to get to go there before the game
I love it.
try some craft beers. I was mad about it when they changed their name and colors from the Devil Rays to the Rays, and
Yeah.
I threatened to quit my fandom then, but luckily I stuck with it so that because 2008 turned out pretty good.
It did. Yeah, I kind of enjoy the Devil Rays. I don't. Why did we take the devil out?
Florida, man, Florida. A lot of,
Mm.
a lot of religious nuts.
Florida ruins everything.
Right? Don't they?
You know what? That actually, now that I said that out loud, that pretty much tracks with all things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I really liked the green though. It's not a too common color. Like the Seahawks have kind of a similar color, but not many sports teams. And like every team's blue. Like
for team is blue.
yeah. I mean, blue is a great color, but it's not like that exciting.
It's been done.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if they had just dropped the devil, I probably wouldn't have cared that much. But I really liked the green. I still like the green.
It's
And I liked the Ray logo.
mm-hmm.
The baseball diamond again, fine, not that exciting. The sunburst, like I don't know. But obviously I've gotten over it and still follow it.
I was looking into, so I am a huge fan of Muppets and puppets and all kinds of goofy stuff. So I love mascots, and my team doesn't have one because we are too classy to have a mascot, which fine. I appreciate that. It goes with the vibe, whatever, but I love them. So I was looking up the Rays mascot, who I could not in my head visualize what he was. And then I looked him up, and I think I just have to read you, because the Rays on their website helpfully have a guide to their mascots. And I think I'm just going to read this because I can't summarize it as well as I can just read this. So he is Raymond. Although he has a last name, his name is Raymond Ray.
I did not know that, but okay.
Yeah, which made me think he should be, a Ray, the animal, like what your team was named after. But he's not. So this is what
a lot more sense.
This is what the says about Ray. In early 1998, Ray's scouts on a fishing trip in the Gulf of Mexico spotted a strange-looking animal. The creature, apparently drawn to the boat by the smell of hot dogs on the hibachi, climbed aboard and soon won the scouts over with his silly antics. During the excitement, a scout had a brilliant idea. Make this fun-loving fuzzball the mascot for the new baseball team. Raymond, as the scouts dubbed him, immediately accepted their contract offer of all the hot dogs he could eat, all the high fives he could handle, and the ability to shake his groove thing to countless Tampa Bay fans. Raymond's animal-like appearance causes confusion among fans of all ages. His fuzzy face is similar to a walrus, and his bulbous blue belly likens him to a mutant manatee. So what exactly is he? In 2005, marine biologists and zoologists made a startling discovery. Raymond is actually a previously undiscovered species of dog known as Canis manta watafluffalus, or, in layman's terms, a sea dog. Sea dogs have all the traits of normal dogs. They enjoy going for walks, playing with kids, and fetching. Unlike other dogs, they are 5 to 6 feet tall, walk upright, are blue in color, and chase catfish. While other dogs live on land, sea dogs usually live in or around the water. Sea dogs are well known for their fun-loving nature, passion for baseball, and general good looks.
Some intern, that was their project, was to write that all.
I have to say, I love everything about that origin story. That is hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Because Because I looked at a photo of this Raymond character, and what I wrote down was walrus, manatee, Smurf, sheepdog.
Okay. So yeah, same set of inspirations as they put into the
Yeah, they forgot the Smurf part. I think it's important because none of those other animals are blue. Like what? None of those things. Why is he blue? Because the Ray's color is now blue. But like,
but it wasn't at the time, so it makes even less sense.
it's true. Like it is a very arbitrary thing to choose when you're, especially when your franchise is named after a literal animal.
Yep. You didn't have to think too hard to like make a mascot of that animal.
And I guess like maybe it's hard to walk around in a big Ray costume with the wings, but also that'd be so cool. And they're indoors, so they could rig something so he could fly.
Well, there you go. That would be exciting.
Like Cirque du Soleil style Ray mascot. Yeah. Like, oh my God, that'd be so neat.
Then everyone could quit complaining about the catwalks because they would be using them to like fly the Ray across the field.
Exactly. Instead of just being a foul ball trap, they would be a cool spectacle. We've solved so many problems today. I hope the Rays are listening to this. But okay, but Raymond being what he is, which is goofy and fun.
Yeah.
I know mascots have various things they like to do. Does he have any fun shtick, or is he just walking around like being a fun-loving dog? I what does he do? I've never seen him in action.
I mean, I can't say anything like sticks out other than, you know, kind of usual, you know, a lot of shaking and and high-fiving, like they mentioned. Yeah, it's pretty much generic mascot stuff. Nothing that really sticks out in my mind, at least.
And then the thing I noticed too is I was scrolling down this amazing story that I read, and then they also had two other mascots listed, which were DJ Kitty, whose job title is designated disc jockey, and also Stinger, who is actually a stingray, which makes a lot more sense. But apparently his job is he is the touch tank greeter.
Oh, okay.
So I guess there's a touch tank where people can hang out with Rays. That's pretty cool. Have you done that?
It is.
Have you done that when you've been at the stadium?
I did, yeah. So when I was there in 2005, they hadn't put it in yet. But the time I went back, we did, and it was a lot of fun. It's very cool. And then, of course, there was like the famous home run into the Ray tank.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, I can't think of his name. The catcher who hit it against the Red Sox, the only game they won that year.
I'm not gonna remember either.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
That guy.
My apologies to that guy.
Sorry, that guy.
But yeah, he had a playoff home run into the Ray tank. It was pretty cool.
That is cool. Not for the Rays, I guess.
I think they're okay. They're under, you know, a few feet of water. I think they're okay. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I think it's a great way to lean into your name and good thing for kids, obviously. You know, kids love that stuff. But I loved it as an adult too.
My one time scuba diving in Grand Cayman, we did this thing where you like, it was like a 25-foot deep part of the, like a very chill part of the bay, went down, sat on the floor of the ocean, and they gave us little like pieces of whatever, and it was the Rays who just come and like try to eat whoever was in your hand, and they would just, you could like guide them around, and they would like, and they were so soft, and it was so cool.
Yeah, it really is cool to see them.
Okay, so that might be my favorite thing about that park. I will go just to touch the Rays.
Yeah.
The animal, not the players. I think I'd probably get kicked out if I try and touch the players.
I mean, if it was Kevin Kiermaier, no one would blame me.
He is beautiful. I will say, every time I forget, and then they'll close up on those ridiculous blue eyes of his, and I'm just like, oh wow, okay.
See, everyone thinks they're blue. He claims they're green. I don't really know what that's about.
Yeah. Has he seen himself?
But yeah. So you know, my wife is not a huge baseball fan, but she tolerates it, or you know, whatever. But it definitely helps because of course She likes Kevin Kiermaier, so that helps encourage her fandom.
You know what? You should have one of those guys on the team that you're like, I could watch him. I could watch him play.
Yeah, right.
Okay, fine. So I will.
And I guess he's got the same nickname as you, apparently. So
is he KK?
Yeah.
You know, it makes sense. If those are your initials, that's what happens sometimes. Yeah. Baseball nicknames also, like, some of them are great, but the majority of them are like, that's what we came up with for you.
Your name shortened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even like I liked Outlaw because I thought it was creative because he's a defender and he's like stealing hits, so he's the Outlaw. But then I found out later that he gave it to himself, and then I was like, oh, that ruins it. You can't do that. Apparently he just like ran around telling everyone to call him Outlaw for a while, and I was like,
that's sad. No, yeah, given to you, a nickname must be bestowed, not generated.
Right. Like I think it was in the minors or whatever, but he was like trying to get everyone to call him that. I'm like, no, you ruined it. I still think it's creative, but you just can't give it to yourself.
Have you ever been given a nickname?
Let's see. Well, when I was in high school on the ski team, they called me Dexter for I don't even know why, but that was my nickname for a while.
Fun. Is it because you were very dexterous?
I doubt it. Maybe it was because I was like nerdy and it was Dexter's Laboratory, but I was like completely unaware of that at the time, so I don't know, not sure.
So they just started calling you that and you answered to it, even though you were like, what does this have to do with me?
Pretty much, yeah. I had like a shirt that I got from a concert that said like Ozzy fucking Osbourne, and I wore that in college one weekend, and then my whole floor called me Ozzy the entire freshman year.
That's fun.
Yeah. There was on the Frisbee team in college, somebody saw a butternut bread truck and was like, Butternut Ben. That was like sort of a nickname for a while.
Butternut Ben. Wow. Yeah. How'd you feel about that?
Oh, yeah. So I took a gap year between high school and college. Cool. So in college, I was like a year older than everybody else. And so for a while, they were calling me Old Balls. That one probably stuck more than any other.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is actually making me kind of glad I haven't had a nickname, because I feel like once someone calls something and it sticks, you're stuck.
Yeah.
They were doing an interview with Yankees pitcher Jordan Montgomery, who I love, and I'm excited for him to have a great year. But they call him Monty a lot because that's what you do. You shorten it and then add a Y at the end. That's your nickname.
Yeah.
His other nickname and one of his social media handles is Gumby. And recently they asked him on the podcast whether he preferred Gumby or Monty. And he was like, I was expecting him to be like, Gumby, that was my original nickname. But actually he was like Monty, because I feel like Gumby referred to a physicality, like my physicality, that isn't my physicality anymore. So now it just makes no sense. This is an outdated, like random.
Like he used to be skinnier than he is now.
Exactly. He was like all limbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay, so I have kept you here for a very long time, but before I let you get off this Zoom, would you mind playing a fast game with me?
Sure.
It's low pressure, I promise. Okay, so it is called the match-up game. It's not like the match game at all, but I stole the name. All right, so I have you out of camera so you can't see them. I have 4 baseball hats, and one of them has the names of most of the Rays hitters. One has most of the Rays pitchers, and then 2 that have the same for the Yankees. And what I want to do is draw out of the hat 5 random pairings of batter on one team, pitcher on the other team. And I want us each to predict an outcome of that at bat. For example, single to right field, ground out to short. And then over the course of the 19 games our teams play, I'm going to track this, and we're going to see who ends up with the most points. And the Loser is going to buy the winner a drink the next time we're in the same city, preferably at a baseball game, but not required.
Okay. All right.
And
well, my sister lives right next to Yankee Stadium, so
yeah, she
I'll
does.
be in to visit at some point, and we can go to a game for sure.
So excited.
We can bring Luca to his first Yankees game.
For our viewers, I know Benjamin because I used to work for his sister, who is a dear, dear friend, and she has an adorable tiny baby who is not even a year old. Who, we have to bring to his first baseball game. I feel like it's our responsibility. But what if he becomes a Yankees fan? Will that make you mad?
No.
He does live like blocks from the stadium.
Yeah.
Legacy.
No, yeah. There's nothing wrong with being a fan of your hometown team when you're a kid
Yeah.
or an adult. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, great. As long as that's okay. So because you are my guest on this podcast, you can select, because there are 5 matchups. Would you prefer that there be 3 Tampa pitchers or 3 Tampa hitters?
Pitchers.
Yeah, that's probably the right call. All right. Now, it makes for really good TV as I dive out of the camera to go find these hats that are at my feet. One moment. Oh,
You've created a lot of work for yourself tracking all this, huh?
I did. I know. I have a bingo game going as well with 6 people. And so my new thing every day is I go through all the box scores from the previous day. It actually is shocking that how much time I spend looking at baseball stuff now. It's a good thing I like it because, this is a lot of work. All right. So here we go. We're going to pick a Rays pitcher out of this hat.
Okay.
I will say I did include a couple people on both teams who are injured but expected back.
Okay.
All right. So we've got Colin Mchugh, a pickup we didn't talk about, which I thought that was an interesting get for them. He's relieving, but he could start too. So that's a good swing man option.
He's going to be a long reliever swing man for sure. Yeah.
Until someone
gets 3 innings and a blowout today. So
there you go.
Somebody's got to do it.
Someone has to do it. All right. And on the Yankee side, I have picked, second time, Luke Voight, who is not currently playing, but we expect him back next month. So Colin Mchugh, righty, against Luke Voight, also righty. What do you think will happen here?
I feel like Voight's a pretty good hitter, and I feel like Colin Mchugh is a swingman coming off some down years. So although I obviously wouldn't be rooting for it, I'm gonna predict that matchup would go Luke Voigt's way more often than not, and I will say double to the left center gap.
That's a really good pick. Because I missed Luke Voigt, I'm gonna go homer, even though I know it's not gonna happen that often, but I'm gonna do it because I didn't pick any homers last time I did this game. So Luke Voigt's gonna homer off Colin Mchugh. You heard it here first.
That would not surprise me.
Right. No. All right. Now, next up for the pitching for the Yankees, it'll be Garrett Cole. Yay. And hitting for the Rays.
We need G-Man Choi so we can predict
he is in here. But nope, we got Willie Adames.
Oh boy. Yeah. I'm gonna pick strikeout.
Oh yeah, that's a good pick for Garrett Cole. He struck out 13 last night. He was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ground out to short. Yeah. All right. Next up for the Rays, we've got.
I gotta pick something pro Rays sooner or later, but
Okay, well I got Cody Reid, the reliever.
Okay.
So he's a righty. Okay, and in my Yankees hitter hat, I've got Aaron Hicks, our center fielder, who's off to a terrible start, but who we believe in anyway.
All right.
So Cody Reid versus Aaron Hicks. What do you got?
I don't know too much about Cody Reid yet, but
he's a lefty. I know that.
All right. He did make the team. I think he pitched yesterday. We'll go pop out.
Pop out. Okay. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with a single to left.
Okay.
Possibly because they overshift him, and well, whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
He's a switch hitters. They won't. All right. Yankees pitching now, and they've got Domingo Germán, who is a righty, who, for context, has not pitched since 2018. Sorry, since 2019, except for one start, not very good this week. But he will be facing Kevin Kiermaier.
All right. Yeah, they've probably faced each other a few times.
Yeah.
Bet.
I would think so.
Well, I mean, I guess with Kiermaier, you have to go with the hustle double.
Yeah.
That's the one you're hoping for. He does have a little bit of power, but yeah, the hustle double is his signature for sure.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So I don't know. Do I have to pick a field or something?
Nah, hustle double is perfectly fine. I'm gonna go. Let's see, Germán Kiermaier. To be clear, I'm not rooting for this, but I'm gonna go with a homer because Kiermaier seems to kill us, and if Domingo leaves something slow up, Kiermaier can just crush it. So we're going home run there, much against desires. All right, last one. Pitching for the Rays, it's Diego Castillo, your closer, your current closer, I should say. And then,
but sometimes opener.
He's nasty. That's really good.
He is.
He's facing who? Aaron Judge. Good matchup.
That's like either going to be a strikeout or a home run, more or less, right?
Probably,
somebody's going to get the better of that matchup. So I guess I better pick strikeout.
Yeah,
of the
that's
two.
good.
And you can pick the home run.
Yeah, I think I have.
You don't.
I think I have to pick a home run. I was thinking of picking a double but I think Judge. I'm gonna go homer. Yeah, home run. I love it. I'm so happy baseball's back. I've watched so much baseball this week because I'm just whenever it's on, I'm mesmerized by it because I missed it for so long. So I think the next couple of weeks, there's a lot of leeway I'm willing to give just because I get to watch live baseball. They can mess up a lot, and I'll still be like, they're playing.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't actually watch a lot last year because I was pretty conflicted about whether they should be playing, and I was kind of just like, this is really stressing me out more than it's bringing me joy. But then, of course, they were doing really well. So eventually, towards the end of the season, I'm like, okay, I have to watch. They're about to go to the playoffs. So I did watch the playoff, and it was a lot of fun. Yeah. But I didn't watch a ton of baseball last year. So
yeah, I understand that.
I'm all into it and having a great time. So
you got your jersey, you got your background, you're all set.
That's right. Hopefully we have as few COVID outbreaks as possible and good season.
Already one big one. Hopefully not anymore. Well, hopefully they just get their vaccines and then
that too.
Please get vaccinated, everybody. Especially if you're playing contact sports and traveling.
Yeah. Yep. Great advice.
But I'm hoping the Yankees and Rays play a lot of really good games this season. I feel like it's gonna be a competitive, intense rivalry. And yeah, they play starting on Friday. So we'll see what happens. I'm psyched.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck to you. And I'm sure we'll check back in. I got your email. We can chat about what's been going on. So maybe we'll have a repeat after we see what happens halfway through the year.
All right. It sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, Benjamin. Have a great afternoon for you.
You have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.